So you're back home, I guess.
Yeah, well, this isn't the home. I'm in a townhouse resort. It's a vacation home, you could say, but it's not our vacation home. The military is paying for it, so our family can have somewhere to stay. But our stuff comes Sunday. We'll stay one more night Sunday night, and then Monday we unpack and we'll be in our house officially Monday. And our house is just like a stone's throw away from here. So we walk to it every day to see the cats. The cats are there hanging out, waiting for us. They're there, happy as can be, but in an empty home. But they have we bought them a cat tree and treats, and they're good. They're happy. They're just happy to be in a home again. No more trauma for them. And then we'll be in Monday. And then 4 days after we get into the house, I go back into a hotel for 10 days of isolation before I go sailing for 3 weeks.
Oh, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Oh.
The whole ship's company is going to occupy 2 hotels, 225 ship's members, each in their own room, costing the crown somewhere like $350,000 just to.
Well, yeah, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, do your own math. I mean, it's going to cost one room per person, 225 people times 10.
You can't leave your room?
No, you're in prison. There's no other way. You get food delivered to you. Fun times. So here's the quick announcement for the show. So Ryan, yours truly, I will be sailing a lot this year. 2021 is going to be a busy year for me. Of course, it sucks for my family. Most importantly, the second thing that sucks, because my wife's right there, I had to say that. The second thing that will suck, and she just groaned at me. The second thing that will suck is that the podcast will not be regular. We'll pump out episodes when we can, but just give a quick window here. May and June, Ryan ain't here. March, Ryan's not here. I went in backwards order. And then August to November, I'm not here. That's about 6 months of almost 7 months of time in the last 10 months of the year that I'll be gone. The podcast will be sporadic. I thought about banking episodes. We talked about it obviously, but just before we came on. But I was thinking, we should just give people what we can when we can. That way they don't just drop off, say, I'm not going to wait till August, and they unsubscribe or whatever. We will pump out episodes when we can. There might be some port visits where if COVID notwithstanding, I get a hotel. I could even record in Hong Kong. We'll see. So, yeah, there you go. So exciting times for me, but sucky times for the podcast.
Where are you going first?
The sales before the deployment's August. That's the big one. It's almost 5 months long. That's the big one, and that's going to be like South China and Korea waters and all that good stuff. So we'll be peacekeeping there next to Mr. Kim Jong-il, whatever his name is now. I always get those Kim Jongs mixed up.
Kim Jong-un.
Thank you. What ports I'll see there, I don't know yet. If we even get off the ships, that's another story. And then lastly, the other sales that I'm doing before that, they're just training sales. We're literally departing Victoria Waters and just doing what we call a Esquimalt 500 training. So it's like military exercises on the boat, but we're not going anywhere. We're literally just going on the water in enough water space where we can shoot weapons, do training, get the team worked up for that deployment. So basically, we say you train as you fight and you fight as you train. So you have to train the crew to get ready for the deployment.
Okay. Wow. Wow. That's very exciting. That's a long time, though.
Yeah, I know. So one thing I already miss about being in Quebec. That's one thing I missed was I loved my job there. Anyone that's in the military listening to this podcast, there's a few. I loved being an instructor. Basic training instructor was the highlight of my career. It was a kind of a crappy province to live in, but I'm just speaking honestly. I love British Columbia. I love the job, and it was awesome working with the recruits. So I'm not saying I'm kind of feeling sucky about going back on the ship. It's my job, but it's just like, I've done it before for 15 years. Now I'm just doing it again. That's all. Enough of that. So, without further ado, cue the music.
So let's go there. Let's make our escape. Come on, let's go there. Let's ask, can we stay? Can you take me higher? To a place where blind men see. Can you take me higher to a place with golden streams?
Well, guys, here we go. Season 8, Episode 1.
Okay. I'm very excited. Season 8, Creed 2.
Kyle, your thoughts? We're rolling to Season 8. You're here. Creed 2. What's going on? Before you say your thoughts, So we were talking in our group chat, saying, hey, can you guys record tonight? And Kyle, did you legit think we were going to do Rambo? Was that where your brain was at?
Yeah. I had a momentary lapse of what was happening. I forgot that Creed 2 existed for a time, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's another one of those.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, our poor listeners are like, wow, I can't wait to go on this journey with these guys for season 8 with that kind of enthusiasm.
I don't mind Creed 2. It's not a bad film. It's not bad.
No, it's great. No, it is not bad. It's fantastic, Kyle.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but...
I'm excited. I did a little advertisement on Twitter that we're recording tonight just to get excited, build some buzz. I picked the Drago gif of Drago Jr. when he puts his back against the ropes and his name Drago is on his robe. When I just saw that little moment, I was like, oh man, I forgot how cool those little moments are in this film. There's some really cool little moments like that. So anyways, before we get into it though, yes, we have mail.
There's some mail wrapping up last season. So the first one's from Greg the First. Ryan, Kyle, and Katie, I finished your episode covering the end of the movie, and I was happy that you all seemed to enjoy the final fight, even if you couldn't resist spending the last 5 minutes criticizing MBJ. I think that was my fault. Sorry, Greg.
No, I chipped in too.
I especially enjoyed Kyle's actual boxing knowledge he brought to the commentary. Yes, Creed draws liberally from the Rocky playbook often, but it's my opinion that they put just enough spin on it to make it feel fresh. Plus, nobody likes to call back to prior installments of his franchise more than Stallone himself. I think it's done with love, but I'm a sucker for that stuff, so I'm hardly unbiased. I'm not sure if I will continue to send emails after every episode for Creed 2. You're always so far ahead in your recording schedule that my emails feel outdated, at least to me, by the time they're read. I completely understand why you record the way you do, but often my emails are so episode specific that they're stale by the time you get to them. Best of luck with Creed 2, Greg the First.
Okay. So he sent me that email. Actually, I was on the beach with the kids next to our house when I read that email. It came in on my phone, saw it was Greg the First. I actually sent him a voice message.
Oh,
begging him. Well, yes, I was pleading. I wanted to make sure there was no bad blood because Greg the First has never indicated that he would never email us again. And I know that Creed season 7 of our show or the Creed coverage was a little bit rough. It was a little bit rough for him as a listener, and because he loves the movie so much, and that goes to everyone.
I think you'll like this season.
I hope so. I think so. I actually have a lot of great things to say about this season, or this movie. But that being said, I actually sent him a voice message saying, "Look, your emails provide so much content for us as hosts to talk about that don't worry about the time delay because anything you bring up is he's a little frustrated that yes, because right now we're recording this episode, it's probably not going to come out till April, so it's going to seem weird, but I try to keep the podcast evergreen anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like the topic of, for example, his last question that we loved was, which of the Rocky endings did you guys like best? Which one of the false endings that we thought was an ending did you like best? That's a great question. That question can be given anytime. There's no time limit on that type of question. So he appreciated that, and I think I got him back. I think he responded with I won't read his response because I don't think that was the intention of him responding for the show. But he said that yes, he would continue. So Greg, this is you guys want him to continue writing? Fans, you want him to continue writing?
Yes.
Come on, Greg. Don't let us down. Especially
Kyle, because I know Greg the First really appreciates Kyle. I think he sees eye to eye with Kyle quite a bit. In fact, speaking about Kyle and his not as much as love for this film as we have, that's great. That's what we want because I think Kyle liked Creed 1 better than us, and I like that there's that dynamic where people can give the criticism where they find it and praise because that's what for me makes it for an interesting discussion. So that's good.
Well, it's like I got gaps, you got gaps. Together we fill gaps.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Also, did you get a haircut, Kyle?
Yeah,
it looks nice.
Oh, thanks.
You look sharp.
I can go breaking hearts in the way my hair.
I'm still disappointed Brittany didn't come on the chat. It was you, but you still look sharp.
Well, I'll try and bring her on for future episodes.
I'd like to meet y'all's families.
Oh, yeah. Becky, do you want to come say hi to the camera? Nope. She says nope. Typical female. But you've seen her in the pictures on Facebook anyways, so yeah, she's the best. Next to Brittany, she's the best.
Aww.
Greg the First, keep writing us. If you don't, I'm going to kick you off Patreon. Okay, go ahead there, Katie.
So the next one is from someone I don't recognize. So maybe he's written in previous seasons, but this one is from Vincent van Ostrom in the Netherlands.
Okay, I want to give a shout out to this guy. He's awesome. He's never written us. No, I don't think he's ever written us. When I started this silly little podcast, which is still a very small, silly little podcast, 4 years ago, it was 26, almost 5 years ago. It was 2016, I think I started this thing. Vincent was one of my first followers on Twitter. You know, he's been there since the beginning.
Is he the cynical Gen Xer who knows he's good looking? That guy?
No. Say that again. Is he who?
Well, like there's some guy from the Netherlands following us on Twitter. I think he says he's a cynical Gen Xer.
Oh, that's Seco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he listens to our show. I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
No, not us, but he has his own issues with Sly. His name is @VinnyStash. That's VINNYSTASH. So he's been following me since the beginning. And I really just want to say appreciate that, brother. I think he's the only one in the Netherlands listening to us. So thank you, brother. I do appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Now, I know I say that the American wants to move, and so I joke about half joke, half real, want to move to Canada, but I'd actually prefer to move to the Netherlands, but I have these dogs. I think I got to go somewhere that I can drive to, and I don't think I can drive to the Netherlands.
No, I don't think you can drive there.
Not with that attitude, you can. I love the Netherlands. I live there. It's really nice.
Katie, I'll send you a picture of Vinny. He's a handsome guy. He might be single. You know, maybe he can hook you up with, yeah.
Give me some citizenship.
Do you like long hair and beards? He's like a biker-looking dude.
Not particularly.
But he's a handsome guy. I'll send it to you.
But yeah, no, I'm sure he is. I'm just like the pickiest person on the face of the planet. So
that's why she's single. Okay, go ahead there, Kyle.
I was just going to say one thing I hate about the Dutch is that their English is so good that it makes me feel like shit because I don't know any other language. And like they speak English as well as I do, but it's like their second language or maybe like third or something.
That's how I felt with Patrick too.
It gets my inferiority complex going.
Well, we'll see if his English is any good. Let's read his email.
Yeah, we'll find out. Vincent says, "Hi guys, the subject is Creed episode 17 info. Hi guys, amazing episode. Really enjoyed the Creed season so far. The dynamic between the three of you is insightful. Love the different perspectives. About episode 17, some extra info. The end fight was not filmed in the UK. Only Sly came to the UK to go to the Everton soccer match to use the stadium and crowd. They filmed with this 360 camera and put in the boxing ring and the fight in post-production. The press conference was also filmed in the US. They only used the exterior from the Worked Museum in Liverpool. Gotta go, going straight into episode 18. Keep punching. Looking forward to Creed 2 season and the Rambo season. Best regards, Vincent van Ostrom, the Netherlands."
Thanks, brother.
That English kicks ass. There's no mistakes.
Yeah, he's also pretty organized in his email. Like he and Patrick, what's with these
Europeans?
Yeah, Northern Europe or something is very,
I love it. It's great. Yeah, thank you so much, Vinny. That's really cool that they emailed us. I actually appreciate it and appreciate it. Yeah, he's been a long-time listener, and he's looking forward to the Rambo coverage.
Very nice. The next one is Baz from Patreon. So this is about Creed episode 19, the season finale, part 1 of 3. Great episode. Really enjoyed it. Really hope I get a chance to make the final wrap party of the Rocky franchise, Creed 2. Great question by Greg the First. Really got me thinking. I think I would have always gone with Creed 2, but on reflection to me, this isn't an ending and leaves me with more questions. Especially after watching This Is Us and imagining the great work that could have been done with an older Milo and Stallone. Oh, Baz, you're after my heart. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would love that. Of course, yes.
Then he says, P.S. Great input by all 3 guests. Loved hearing views of other fans. So that was the live coverage that we did, the finale episode 1 of 3. One more. This is from Jared Talkstein. I didn't know how it was pronounced, so he told me that it's pronounced Talkstein.
Yes, thank you, Jared.
Hello. Yes, appreciate that. Sorry about that. Hello, Ryan. Episode 17 was great. Thanks for the love you showed to our Babbling with Balboa podcast. Rocky 3 available now. Rocky 4 coming in a few days. I know you're just leading up to the big fight at the end of Creed, but I'd like to address the improvement in fight choreography and filmmaking that has been present in the Rocky series since Rocky Balboa. I think the fights in the first film hold up nicely. The thunderous punch sound effects hadn't yet become commonplace. In Rocky 2, 3, 4, and 5, it sounds like someone is slamming a car door every time a punch lands.
I love that. Car door. Donk. Yeah, it does like donk, donk. Yeah.
But he's saying that the first film holds up nicely. I wonder why that was different than pieces 2, 3, 4, and 5. It sounds like a car slamming door.
But they definitely amped up these sound effects with the punching after the first film. But then they went back in Rocky Balboa. They went back to the more more of a slap, almost like a soft thud, like a real boxing hit sounds.
Okay. So Jared goes on to say, I'm happy this has been toned down in the recent films. I know from watching the behind-the-scenes stuff that actual contact is being made in some of the recent films, and you can tell. I also think the reason that the Drago Apollo fight in Part 4 seems so brutal is because Dolph is actually punching Weathers, which famously almost made Weathers quit the film.
So weird. Yeah. That story always kills me. He literally, in the middle of filming, can you imagine? It's like, dude, your death is pretty integral to this story. Can you at least just flop on the ring once so we can somehow edit around that?
He might have been pissed because they killed his character.
Imagine getting punched by Dolph Lundgren over and over again.
No, I can't. And he must be...
Stallone is kind of almost like masochistic a bit when it comes
I think
to
so.
that. And I think most people aren't like that. Because I think Weathers took some hits in filming the first two films, but I think that was amped up quite a bit in the fourth film. He was probably like, yeah, I'm not getting paid enough to do this. Yeah. Plus, you're killing me. Plus, it's like...
Kick me when I'm down almost.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sticking around after this. So Dolph must be pretty powerful, or he just hadn't learned yet how to hold back, because he put Stallone in the hospital for several days as well.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So.
Almost kills. Can you imagine that punch killed Sly for real?
Oh my God.
The last movie we would have had was Rocky 3, because Rocky 4 wouldn't have been finished because Dolph killed Sly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would not have been an ending.
Yeah.
There's no ending there.
Yeah, it ends with he dies, and that's the end of Stallone's career. Okay, well, it's a 20-minute movie.
I'm the new Rocky now.
Yeah. Could have been Drago. It could have been Drago series afterwards. Some people might have liked that.
I would very much like that.
There was supposed to be a Drago film right after Rocky 4.
Really?
I think it was on Sly's radar or something where it was supposed to happen, where we were supposed to get Drago redemption story where he fell from grace with his people, but he had his own story of redemption. Not to spoil Creed 2, but anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, this is why I'm so excited about Dolph coming back. Okay, sorry. So Jared, I'm continuing his email. So he's saying, I think the Drago Apollo fight in Part 4 seems so brutal because Dolph is actually punching him. I think technically the fights in the Creed films are the best in the series. The punches feel real, and while the action is heightened a bit, these fights feel more grounded to me than the previous fights in the series. The podcast is awesome. I particularly appreciate Kyle's sharp eye in recognizing film flubs in the last episode. Nicely done, Kyle. Please tell Katie I'm 80s and 90s hip-hop head from way back. Yay! Thanks, Jared. That's awesome. I have a teammate. Take care. Keep punching. Jared Talkstein.
That's awesome, Jared. And I want to plug his show again. That is the Hyperspace Podcasting in the 21st century. Just Google the Hyperspace Podcasting, or sorry, what century is it? 25th century, my bad. And they're doing a mini series called Babbling with Balboa. They've done up to Rocky 5, and they did a great job on the Rocky 5 episode. I find the Rocky 5 discussion fascinating. And if anyone's listening to this podcast who hasn't heard our season 5 of Rocky 5, I think it's one of our best seasons. I mean, they're all great, but what I like about it is that we don't just crap on it for 20 episodes. They did one episode on Rocky 5, and they did him and his co-host, Jared's co-host. They did a great job of saying what was great about it. And they were very fair and funny and fair. And again, I listen to these podcasts and I think, gee, why does everyone listen to us? People do a much better job than us. But they did a great job. So Jared and the gang, check them out. Hyperspace Podcast. And I always like it when podcasters listen to our podcast because it makes me, when a fellow podcaster likes your podcast, that's a good sign. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to their, of course, the last 3. They're doing the whole franchise right up to Creed 2. So. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So, guys, keep the emails coming. Again, don't be afraid to ever send an email late. If you're listening to this episode in August of 2021, send us an email because eventually it's going to get read, and it's food for fodder or fodder for food or whatever that word is. I don't know. It gives us a discussion point, and we appreciate it. Like if you come on and say, "Oh, I just started listening to season 1," that'd be kind of cool to listen to an email where someone just joined, and that's actually how Katie was found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's right.
Indeed.
We're not looking for.
She was discovered.
Sorry.
I gotta say discovered.
That's right.
It sounds better.
I think so. Well, guys, before we roll into the Creed 2 discussion, who is following Kyle and Katie on Twitter? We haven't done it for a few weeks, so we got some new ones. Kyle, you've gained one new...
I actually haven't looked at my Twitter since we did the last Who's Following Kyle.
Yeah, so you got a new one. You got a sports podcast following you called 1420. So they get a shout out. There you go. That's what happens when you follow us on Twitter. So check out the 1420 Sports Podcast. They are following Kyle, and this is their bio. They're 4 beer worth of sports talk and more with host Brent Radolinski.
Jared also follows me too.
Yeah, I think we did the shout out, but if we forgot,
okay.
Yeah, I think we did it a while
I
back.
wasn't on the last episode. I think that's why.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Jared does follow you. We're not going to shout out Jared anymore. That's enough of Jared. I know, maybe that is a new one because since our last one, yeah, Jared's also following Katie. So maybe we didn't shout him out. So, yes, Kyle, you're right. Jared's following Kyle. For Katie, you've got a new podcast following you. They are called The Real Review. That's REEL. They are news and reviews from the world of film and television from Scotland.
Oh, I just love all this international stuff.
Yeah, and we do have Scottish listeners, but people from Scotland. Jared Talkstein, he follows you. Of course, he is the email we just heard from who runs that podcast. Jonathan Roos follows you. You ever heard of Jonathan Roos? He's from San Diego. We have a lot of California listeners. He's into fitness, sports, and everyday observations. There you go.
All right.
Tim.
Very nice.
Tim's following you. It's at TimGonda3. Okay. Oh, he likes dogs and more than he likes people.
Me too.
There you go. He's on YouTube, PA Breadman Outdoors. So there you go. So that might be why he follows you, because he likes dogs. And lastly, Aaron Backrack is following you. Oh, he's single and he's a dog lover. Check this out. Yeah, he's a level 3 fitness instructor, personal trainer, film and TV extra from the UK. Oh.
His picture he's with Stallone.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did.
I'm looking now.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, guys. If you follow us on Twitter, follow Kyle and Katie on Twitter, you'll get a shout out because it plugs your Twitter and your podcast, respectively. The Rocky Podcast itself gets a lot of followers. I won't read those out. We appreciate everyone that does follow. Appreciate everyone that does follow the show. Lastly, we're ready to go. There you go.
I'm jealous now. I want picture with Stallone.
I know. A lot of these followers have their pictures with slide. Obviously, those meet and greet type things. But still, it's cool.
I just have to camp out outside his house.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd be cool with that.
All right. And the good news is, too, guys, Creed 2 is on Canadian Netflix. Because I was using for Creed 1, I was using this stupid pirated site to stream it. And I own the movies on DVD, so nobody at me. And I saw them in the theaters multiple times. It's just for the streaming purposes for the show, it's easier, obviously, to have the browser. So Netflix hopefully it plays and shares with you guys. Let me know. Do you see it and hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Going slow.
It might be a bit of a delay, yes. And the good
okay now.
And the good news is too, it's going to be captioned, which is nice. So you'll be able to read the subtitles, so it's not as hard to struggle to read or hear.
Ooh, it's going slow again.
It might be some it's the hotel internet here sucks.
Yeah, hotel internet's never good.
Of course, we'll tighten it for the audio release, but let's just watch this opening intro, and then we'll comment. Oh, wait, well, stop right there. Okay, yeah, I already forgot about this scene. So, what an interesting opening right away. We're at the Dragos.
Which, I love this. Mm-hmm. It feels like you're privileged to finally find out something about this mystery character. You've always wanted to see what happened to him. You always want to know stuff about him. Now you're finally here. I remember being really excited when I saw this in theater. Almost giddy.
Well, there was newspaper clippings on the wall from what was that, 35 years ago?
Right.
Of the fights.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, so as a viewer, you're right away like, oh, it was in Russian writing. So you're like, oh, we're in Russia. We're at the Dragos home. We have a picture frame here. A man just walks by a picture frame. It looks like a young Drago Jr. And there's a little baby Drago Jr. with mother Ludmilla. Played by, of course, Birgit Nielsen. That's a young photo, of course, of Birgit Nielsen right there. It's like that
She's such a pretty woman.
You think that's her with her real baby back in the day or something like that?
It's probably her in the photo, but they photoshopped the baby with her. But she had kids, but I don't know if she had them that young, though.
Yeah, because it would have been easier just to be like, okay, do you have some kid pictures we can use? And then she
just recently had a baby within the last couple of years. She married someone she's like in her 50s, 55, 56.
She's 57.
At the time she had the baby, I think she was 54, 55. Yeah. And her most recent husband is 35.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, and
that's younger than me. Holy cow.
Yeah, I think it was whatever sex. I can't remember what it was, but the new baby is a different sex than all her other gender.
Interesting. Okay.
A different gender. And
sure.
She was happy about that.
I don't know what.
Anyway.
No, I think you can say. Yeah, I think you can say it's a different sex. What gender will identify as, we don't know.
Yeah.
This is telling. This first scene. This tells you a lot. What it really says to you is this guy's living in the past. Because we've seen the film, we know what the deal is with his wife.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're watching this for the first time, you don't. Most people listening know because they've seen the film.
Except for Katie's friend.
Yeah, exactly.
We watched the first 4 of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, what did she think?
She liked them. So I'm a big Drago fan. I like him. And so I was really trying to get her to, I'm like, don't you think he's hot? She's like, no, not at all. She's like, he's like a robot. I'm like, I know. And I told her that, like, in Creed 2, we see more of his life, that he's not a robot.
Yeah.
One of the newspapers was in Russian, but one I think was actually Ukrainian. There's a slight difference in their alphabet. The Ukrainians used our letter I, where the Russians, they use what looks like a reverse N to us. That's the I. And we learned that Drago's actually Ukrainian. He's not Russian.
Well, he's in Ukraine now. I don't think we learned that he's Ukrainian. He was almost pushed out of Russia, and they're in the Ukraine now.
I think they refer to him like in one of the newscasts later in the film as Ukrainian.
Oh.
I could be wrong. I don't know. Because he was Soviet before, right? The Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union.
Good point.
And we just kind of assume anyone in the Soviet Union is Russian because that dominates the Soviet Union. But
we also just assume that they are so very bad.
Yes. Although I find it hard to believe that he would be Ukrainian because typically anyone with Ukrainian ancestry is inherently inferior. I'm just saying that to troll, right?
I know. Yeah. I'm Ukrainian, and oh boy. All right.
I really mean that. Any Ukrainian listeners, you guys are great.
We have a few Russian listeners from Russia. Now, really quickly there, again, for our listeners. So we see a gentleman lying on the couch, which we know now is Drago Jr., and a fist punching him in the shoulder to wake him up, which already gives you kind of an idea of this relationship.
The apartment is not comfortable looking. Like, it's very rough. This guy doesn't have his own bed. He sleeps on a couch. He has, like, some shitty little blanket on him. He gets woken up with a punch. So, like, the movie's telling you that this guy is tough.
It's a rough situation.
Yeah, like, he's hard. He doesn't have that soft upbringing. He's got a silver spoon like some people.
Yeah, well, yeah. So we should know right now this individual, Drago Jr. His name is Victor, and is played by a guy's name I always have a hard time pronouncing this, Florian Munteanu. He is a professional fighter in real life, mixed martial arts. I don't think he's ever fought in UFC, but he is a fighter, a trained fighter in real life. I thought for sure, side note here, that he would have some sort of career after this film, but I don't know if it's lack of opportunities or him not wanting it. The only thing he's doing right now, and the only thing he's done since this film, and the only thing he's done is this film, he's going to play Razorblade, a Marvel bad guy, that new movie Shangri-La or something like that. It's like a Marvel universe.
That would make sense. I can see him in something like that.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It's a Marvel film. Anyways.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you think he's not being offered roles or he's not seeking roles?
I thought he did a fantastic job. So I watched the DVD extras.
Oh,
I
cool.
rewatched this a couple weeks ago because I knew we were going to start covering it. There were some really good deleted scenes, but then they had some kind of interviews about where this guy came from, how he got cast. He took it really seriously. He had a really good work ethic. They interviewed Dolph, and Dolph he was really impressed with his acting and thought that he would go on to be an actor.
That's what's weird. I know he's Romanian, so maybe language could be an issue.
Oh, I thought that Patrick said that he's German.
I might have read it wrong.
At least I think he's born in Romania.
Oh,
at least.
okay.
But Florian is a German name. Maybe his parents are German or something like that.
Yeah.
And like Eastern Europe, there was lots of areas that were like colonized by German people. So there's lots of like German speaking kind of enclaves in like Czech Republic and Romania and Poland and Ukraine and places like that. He could be German for sure.
Have you thought of going on Jeopardy? Because I think you should.
Yeah, maybe. I'll probably choke, but you never know.
That's funny. This is why we need Kyle, I think, for the Rambo coverage. Even though he's not knowledgeable about the films necessarily, he's got this extra. He knows things. You know, he's like the Cliff. He's the Cliff Clavin of our podcast.
I love that.
He's like, oh, little known fact there that Russia and the Ukraine were under the Soviet Republic, and that's great. Before Wikipedia, there was Cliff Clavin. It's true. He was the original. Lots of discussion points. 10 seconds in. It's great. Great choice of music. This is a new kind of music for the films. So all of the films. They're hearing the acoustic guitar. Have you ever heard acoustic guitar?
No, it's kind of like
Eastern European or European. Yeah. And here's our first shot of Dragos Sr. The music cue kicks in.
I find this balcony weird, where it's wired. It almost feels like he's in prison or something like that.
So it says that they're in Kiev, Ukraine, and then he's looking out over the city. But then the shot that Ryan has it paused on right now, there's these two towers, housing towers. Is he looking at those, or
He's
is
in them.
he in one of those?
He's in them.
Okay.
I think the wires protect him so they don't fall out.
Of the balcony.
Yeah.
And
by
it's
fall,
rough.
Ryan really
Yeah.
needs to jump.
Yeah.
It's true. In Ukraine, everybody wants to jump off the balcony.
It's very clear, like they're showing us, it's just kind of like a sad existence.
Agreed.
I always thought Drago and Ludmilla, Ivan and Ludmilla, looked alike. They're both tall, blonde. I guess that's it. And then
Scandinavian.
stereotypical, like what movies would portray. Like,
Sure.
That's what I thought Russians looked like. I didn't know.
Right.
And the kid, while his stature is very much like Ivan's, his look is different.
Good point. So the actor, of course, Florian, who plays Victor, he doesn't really look. Here's the thing. So I remember when I forget the guy's name. We can Google it later. There was an individual they had in mind to play Drago Jr. And I saw a picture of him. And he looked like Drago Jr. A little bit smaller version, a little bit more svelte, almost like Adonis, a little bit smaller than Adonis, quite frankly. So on an intimidating physical factor, and I think he was a real boxer too. I think he was that close to being cast. I think he was almost cast. It was one of those things where I bet you it was everything but the dotted line, because it was like that was Victor Drago for a little bit. And I remember seeing him thinking, okay, he kind of looks like Drago, but he didn't look intimidating. He kind of looked svelte. It didn't quite look intimidating. And so then you got Florian, which is absolutely, he scares the crap out of me. Look to him. He's just an absolute beast of a guy. Mm-hmm. But the trade-off is he doesn't quite look like the Dragos.
Yep.
They took that risk and it paid off, because I think he does a great job in the film. He is very menacing. He's very Drago-like, his persona, and his acting with Dolph is amazing. All that being said, despite maybe genetic looks that the other actor may have brought to the table, I think they made the right choice with this guy, with the imposing figure and what have you.
There's only so many tall, blonde.
I think the real reason they came to America is they were invited onto the Maury Povich show.
Paternity test.
There was a paternity test, because it seems like Ludmilla is not necessarily the most faithful spouse. The other option is Dolph is not the father.
That's hilarious.
If funny enough, that could be in the realm of this universe with the infidelity being thrown around in the Creed films. Why not?
I remember being so excited. This opening scene for me, the first time I saw it, I was, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. And then they're kind of behind Dolph for the opening scene. And then we see the kid. And then Dolph goes on the terrace and we see his perfect, I mean, he's older now, but his perfect silhouette. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Drago.
Yeah.
The first movie I saw was Rocky IV. As like a 5-year-old, I remember being in awe of, and like I had a crush on Ivan and remembering I'm not supposed to like him. He's the Russian. He's
like
hot.
the bad boys.
Yeah.
Typical.
And he still looks great. He looks fantastic.
I don't think he's quite 60 yet, because I know I think he's 12 to 14 years younger than Sly. So Sly is 74 now. So I think Dolph is 60 now, but he would have been 57 or 58 during this film. Yeah.
He recently married like a 30-year-old or something. Like,
why not?
Maybe not even. Yeah.
Both him and Ludmilla married 30-year-olds.
Yep.
Why not? If you look it and you've got the money and both partners are happy, knock your socks off.
Yep.
All right, let's continue. Because I think it's right after this little sequence here. It cuts to the title, I think. Oh, not yet. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. There's more of the Dragos. So, yeah, they're about to go for their morning run together. Sort of together. My bad. I thought they were going to go for a run with him in the truck, but I guess that comes later.
Later, they're going to a fight.
That's right. So sorry, my apologies. I did with Sly too all the time. So Ivan Drago is taping up his son's hands, ready for a fight. Yep. I love his face is just so tired. It almost feels like he's begrudgingly doing this for his son. You can tell right now that he seems to be already disappointed in his son.
Does he seem to have a scar around his eye, his left eye, right eye?
Oh, when the Russian's cut, yeah.
It's a bad cut. And he's reminded every day when he looks in the mirror.
And I'll give Dolph credit, and this is what I like about him. He's aging naturally. Look at those crow's feet. Look at those wrinkles on his head. That's great. He looks grizzled, and I think men who grizzle naturally look better than those who try not to. That's just my opinion.
I agree. So no words were exchanged this whole time between these two?
No, I don't think so. It's something that they've done 100 times, 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're just, it's almost robotic now. Kind of mimicking, of course, you could argue Rocky in the first film, just getting ready for a fight. It's just another bar fight. Here we go. If we're not really going to go anywhere, this is our life, whatever. It's a bit of a bigger fight than a fight in a church, but still.
He was cracking his neck. He must have had a crick in his neck from sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we're in the ring now, and we're Stephen Capel Jr., who's directing this film after Ryan Coogler. And Ryan Coogler actually intended to direct Creed 2, but he couldn't because of Black Panther conflicts.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
He was wanting to direct. I think it was his intention to direct. Black Panther took a little bit longer, but the reason why Michael could film Creed, I think they did all the stuff they needed to do with Michael, with the Killmonger character. So Michael was able to come over and do Creed 2 without affecting. So Michael's schedule wasn't affected by the film, but Ryan's, as director of the big Marvel film, didn't have time to come over to the Creed film. So he stayed on as executive producer. He didn't write any of it either, though, which is interesting. In fact, we should have said the writers of this film, it is Sly, but he had a little bit of help, according to Wikipedia, from fellows named Chio Hodari Coker and Sasha Penn, with a screenplay help by Jewel Taylor. The first time this film was introduced, Sly announced it. He said on his own Instagram, I'm writing, directing Creed 2. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't.
And I remember thinking, yes, Sly's coming back to the film. He's writing, he's directing. This is amazing. And I remember being a little bit nervous because he's not the greatest director. I love him, but he's kind of not the greatest director. But I thought, okay, he's taking control of the franchise again. But then it's like, I'm really excited to introduce a young new director, Stephen Capel Jr. And I'm like, what's going on here? Keep in mind, the people with the pockets, they make the decisions. And I guarantee you, somebody in the film industry, somebody in the company who pays for these things, I said, look, Sly, no offense, but we're going to get a young director. And it's going to be a young black director, which is great. It's great for the franchise. It's got nothing against that. And I got nothing against it. Stephen Capel Jr., I think, did a fantastic job. He's another player, though, where he's not really doing anything right now. It's weird. This was two.
He's not?
No. According to Wikipedia, there's nothing coming up on his plate. It's 2021.
He is young. Was he even 30 when he directed this?
I think he was under 30.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Creed 2 is where dreams come to die, in essence.
That's a good point, Kyle.
There are some odd outcomes for people's careers with this film. Florian Montagnol, nothing. One film since 3 years, and he's a side baddie. Not even the main one. And then Stephen Kibble Jr. He did some work on the TV show, though, Grownish. I know he's worked on that, so maybe he's just focusing on that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no major film. Sly, in a weird way, kind of getting dethroned to direct. I wonder what the discussion was, because Sly said, I'm directing this film. So there was a moment where he said, I'm directing. So somehow or another, he thought he was directing, enough that he publicly said so. And then it went, I'm really excited.
He has a tendency to do that, though, doesn't he? Just say things and they may or may not actually happen. Or
Yeah, it'd be interesting if anyone in the know. But the other interesting side note, Sly had a bad taste in his mouth by the end of the filming of this film. He only went to one premiere. I swear he made Rambo 5 to avoid publicity for Creed 2, because literally Creed 2 hadn't even been released. It wasn't even out in theaters, and he was already plugging Rambo 5. He plugged Rambo 5 more than Creed 2. He was like, Rambo 5, here's my knife, here's some still shots from the film. I had more hype for Rambo 5 because of Sly than I did for Creed 2, because Sly was plugging Rambo 5 during its filming before Creed 2 was released.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I remember you saying that, but I don't recall.
Oh, I recall it vividly because I remember thinking he didn't go to any premieres, he didn't do any talk show circuits, he didn't go on any shows, he didn't do anything. We find out later through some reliable sources of the podcast that apparently Michael B. Jordan went behind his back, talked to Stephen Cable Jr., and said to the effect, this is not a Rocky film. We can't have another Rocky film. And ... Creed 3 is directed by Michael, no Sly.
Is there a tentative release date for Creed 3?
I think filming starts soon. They have a writer, they have the director, of course, they have all the stars coming back, Bianca, and I think maybe psychologically, back of my mind, maybe knowing that Michael B. went behind Sly's back, if what I heard is true, maybe it's not true, but the circumstantial evidence points to that, as well as what the person said to me who's in the know, that Sly, why would you be happy about that? You find out the younger star is saying, it was apparently, this is not a Rocky film, this is a Creed film. Let's keep it that way.
Well, it's true. I mean, that's not...
It's not true, but but fans like me and you, and I think Kyle too, like, well, we'll see. Maybe Creed 3 will make twice as much. Who knows? Maybe people will be happy to see Rocky out of it. Maybe we're wrong.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I'm just trying to be. I'm trying to be diplomatic. I'm trying to be diplomatic, so people don't think I'm trying to. Because I'm not trying to rag on. Because ironically, I think Michael did a better job in this film acting. Ironically, I think his chemistry with Bianca is better. But that's the weird irony, is that there was tension behind the film, tension with the director. Yet I think the movie itself is a better film than Creed. It just goes to show you sometimes conflict can bring out stuff too. I don't know.
The reason I'm not as big on this film is Creed. Honestly, I'm just getting sick of it. How many times are we going to do this?
Well, that's what makes the Dragos storyline, I think, so exciting. I think that's part of it.
I agree. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm excited. I loved it. And I loved all the deleted scenes. But yeah, this opening sequence, I was just like giddy about it.
What makes Creed 2 so great is the Dragos storyline.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's, to me, the Dragos storyline is the highlight. And then second place is, Sly playing Rocky. Great job. Third place, the reunion with his son and grandson. And in fourth place is Bianca.
No, we get the Dragos back. We also get the monstrous opponent. Yeah.
So we'll just finish this opening sequence here, the fight. So they're at a fight, and I was just going to say how this whole conversation started. We have another underneath the fighters angle that we got from Creed Part 1. So Stephen Cable kind of gave a nod to Ryan Coogler, mentioning that we have the shot of the camera underneath the two fighters punch each other, that underneath look. It's kind of cool. So we repeat that again in Creed 2. So he's fighting in a pretty big venue, like it's pretty, for Ukraine, it's a nice little venue. And we have what looks like some sort of maybe we know it's a promoter from the States coming to check out. We find out later this guy obviously heard that Victor Drago, the son of Ivan, is fighting. So he's checking out, hey, is this guy worth getting any money, bringing him stateside over? So that's what we have here in the scene. And the punches from Victor are just destroying this little guy. Look at that guy. He's a beast.
Victor knocks this opponent out. It's clearly a heavyweight fight. He knocks him out, and his dad, Ivan, just stone-faced still, no smile, no emotion. He just gets up like, okay, here we go. Let's go home now. He wasn't happy or anything.
He knew the outcome of this fight already. It's pretty clear his son was going to win. He's itching to get to a point where his son can kind of, I guess he could live vicariously through him. And this is not where that is. And so this is kind of like, I think he has to kind of begrudgingly go through this phase of his son kind of going up the ranks. This is like going for a jog. It's nothing special. There's no tension.
Going through
it's
emotions.
just like, okay, we got to go. We got to beat this guy. Then we got to train some more. Then we got to beat the next guy. And, you know.
Good point.
You already saw, though, the brutality of this guy. He just looks menacing. You could already see every punch was hitting. He already looked dangerous without even trying. He looks dangerous right now. You just kind of sense this guy's a dangerous looking guy. And he kind of mowed over that guy. Yeah,
like that other guy was both smaller and didn't have any speed or any other skill or ability that would compensate for the lack of size. It's a foregone conclusion that he's going to lose.
I actually thought the other guy was pretty big. It's just in comparison, Victor is just so enormous that the other guy seemed small. I think that they're just showing us there's still no clapping, no cheering. Neither one of them are smiling. It's just like showing us the relationship between father and son here is strange.
In the Eastern European countries, in Russia or Ukraine, smiling is not considered a good trait.
Oh.
Like people who are like smiling and stuff, it's seen as kind of like a sign of stupidity or like foolishness. That's why it's like often in pictures and stuff, they won't be smiling. Like Vladimir Putin is a good example. Like you never see him smile or anything like that. Like I think there are cases where they can smile. I'm not saying they never smile, but they don't show that kind of happiness or smiliness on a regular basis. That's just kind of not part of their culture.
That makes sense.
Crazy. So the American promoter seems pretty happy with what he saw. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there he is. Yeah. There we go. What a great prologue.
Yeah, that was solid. I guess that's one big difference between these later new generation of Rocky or Creed films and the other film. The past Rocky films, of course, always start with the previous fight. And so it's kind of like on an upbeat or action-packed note. Creed and Creed 2 kind of have a more ominous intro. You had the juvenile detention center intro in Creed 1. And then you have this kind of like bleak, ominous intro as well. And I really like it, actually. I much prefer this to the Rocky ones, even though I have a lot of nostalgia and I really like the Rocky ones too. I think this is also great. I can't fault this intro at all. I think it's an excellent intro.
And I like how they introduced Drago right away, because everyone was there to see Drago. Like a lot of the film goers, how are they going to handle Dolph, or how's Dolph going to be, or is this going to be corny? Right away, they established the first 6 minutes or 5 minutes of this film, the Dragos, they mean business. There's nothing funny or corny about this Drago. Rocky IV, the movie, might have been a little bit silly, but the one thing that was never silly about that film was Drago. They carried that over here. The Creed 2 at the beginning is this ominous, bleak. And you're like, oh, no one's laughing. No one's like, oh, snickering. Oh, Rocky IV Part 2. Nobody feels that right now. Everyone's like, oh, this is kind of cool. These guys are business. These guys are freaky. And I like how they got it out of the way. Like, there he is. Now you know he can do what he needs to do in this film. Let's move on with the story.
And of course, he doesn't say anything.
Right.
In tradition with Rocky IV.
I thought it was really interesting that right before they showed the title, Creed 2, immediately before that, they focused in on Ivan Drago's stone face. It's basically the Drago movie.
Yeah, it is. Oh, sorry, it's Rocky IV Part 2. Plain and simple. Yeah. But watch how he looks at the camera here at the end.
Oh, I love it.
Like looking at the audience. Yeah, I'm here.
I'm back.
I must break you.
You, the audience.
You would lose. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
What I love is that Sly and Dolph have continued having a good relationship with the Expendable films, and
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest, Dolph should be very happy with Sly.
Made his career.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows it. And Sly was kind of a mentor to him in some respects, so that relationship works.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. That is episode 1 of season 8. The Creed coverage is beginning. I'm excited. If you haven't already, give us an iTunes review. I pleaded with you guys a few episodes ago. Nobody stepped up. I'm ready to cancel this show. No, I'm joking. Yeah. We need those reviews. Even it's easy. It's free. You just put 5 stars. And like I said, even the comments, if it's too much to write how amazing Kyle is, if it's too much to write, just you could even just put yo. That's it. iTunes doesn't care what you write, but put those 5. Don't put 4 stars. Put 5 stars in. And well, if we're worthy of 4 stars, go ahead. But the point is, we appreciate reviews. Join us on Twitter. We have a Facebook group, and lastly, our Patreon. We are, we're hoping right now. Our goal right now is just 40. I'm going to say the number. It's 40. 40 patrons, that'd be amazing because it would pay for the feed, the Lipson feed. And I can increase the wattage, so to speak, to get the other shows out there who are affiliates, Rocky Minute and the Slycast. We can pump up more episodes from them because they were kind enough to join the network, so to speak, and actually support those shows that people have, but support them, guys, because when I'm away, Rocky 3 on Rocky Minute will be kind of the filling in the gaps of my absence. So there you go. Oh, Kyle's got a message.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
That's someone leaving a review.
It was Google Photos telling me I have a new memory to look at.
Ooh. The memory is him coming on the show for the first time.
70 years ago.
Yeah, it was. You've been on every season since the beginning. Yeah, anyways, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Kyle and Katie, for coming on the show and being the host with me. It's awesome doing this with you guys. I'm really excited to do season 8. Again, it's going to be sporadic. Patience to everyone, but we're going to get through it. And after season 8, we're going to roll into Ramble. The Ramble podcast will be called It's a Long Road. Kyle, do you know why it's called that? It's okay. The song at the end of the movie, First Blood, it's, I forget the singer. I used to think it was Frank Stallone, but it's not. The singer, it's called It's a Long Road when you're on your own. It's like it's a really corny ending, but I love it.
It's a weird, yeah.
It's a terrible. It's the weirdest choice for First Blood. So the podcast will be called It's a Long Road. So this one's called Going the Distance. The Rocky Series podcast.
The official name for this one is Take Me Back, do 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 do.
No. So anyways, I've said it before, but I just love saying it. So it's going to be called It's a Long Road, the Ramble Series podcast. So, all right, yeah, all right, guys. Well, who did it last? It must have been Katie because yeah. So yeah, Kyle,
of course. Ding ding.
That's